taking a different route and asking Kiara first. So Kiara, you tell me, how important was it to tell the story of Captain Vikram Batra and Dimple Cheema, of course, the role that you are essaying in the film, alongside Shershaah's story of, valor on the battlefield?
Okay, so let me begin with a narration that I had when I was first hearing the film and meeting Vishnu sir. I actually left that narration wanting to share the story in totality with whoever I met, whether it was my family, whether it was my team, because when the Kargil war took place, I was very young. And I was aware of it, but not in such depth and detail as now I am because I'm a part of this film. We always think about the army officers and, we have so much gratitude in our hearts for them. But hearing about their lives beyond just, the officer that they are, I mean, at 24, when younger, when he was in college and he was deciding that he wanted to, join the army, and that was his one true love since he was a child. And he still, he had a personal life. He had, he was in love with Dimple. They had plans of getting married shortly after. Their relationship was taking that next step. And through the narrative, this every moment that Vishnu sir had shared with me in the narration, it was almost like, this is so beautiful, but did he really do this? Is this really what happened? And then fortunately, before we started filming for Shershaah, I met with Dimple Cheema and heard from her firsthand, and she shared their relationship, the stories about they went together. And I was like, it's amazing how beautifully it's been integrated into the screenplay and how wonderfully it's a part of, a film which is on his entire life. But the crux of it is, of course, we know him for his part in the Kargil war. But seeing that whole journey and seeing how she stands, and then through her understanding what it really takes, the emotional turmoil of any partner of an officer who's serving for the nation it's unimaginable. Being a civilian, it's very different to be in a relationship with a civilian and then to be in a relationship with someone whose duty is such a high risk job and factor. And these were the things that moved me and stayed with me, and I felt like, oh my God, this is a story that we have to share. And I can't wait for 12th of August.
In fact, you just mentioned that you had met Dimple, which was my next question to you. When you meet a person who's so committed that she decides to live in the memory of a person who she so dearly loved, how does it affect you, personally, to essay someone like that on screen?
My intention when I met her was just to listen to her and understand the emotional journey that, and I think it was just getting the emotions right. And of course, when she spoke with such happiness and pride that it doesn't make you pity someone. It really makes you empathize in a way that how beautiful. I mean, she's truly, chosen to lead this life, and she lives it with so much happiness as well, as though he's still around her, as though it all just happened yesterday. And that is deeply moving, and that is so, endearing about her. That she's so strong, and she has no, I did ask her at one point, I'm like, it's been so many years, and she almost looked at me like, that doesn't matter. That made no difference. We're going to meet, and I'm upset with him right now, but it's okay. I'm going to meet him, and wo sare shikayatein main tabhi, milke dur kar dungi, and all of that. And I just felt like this is just so refreshing to know of. I mean, it's such a unique story.
In fact, there can be so many definitions of brave. I think she is brave.
Absolutely, 100%.
Moving on to Vishnu sir. So this is your debut Hindi film. And, if it's going to be right to say that, there couldn't have been a better story to tell. How did Shershaah happen to you?
Okay, now if you really want me to tell you how Shershaah happened, I can write a book on that, actually, for that matter, to just cut it in short. I was a writer, Sandeep Srivastav, So I've known him for a couple of years, so we were helping, he was helping me in writing another script, which is for the South, and at that point, he was signed up by Shabir Boxwala, who owned the rights of Captain Vikram Batra, who had spoken to the family and decided to make the film. And that at that point of time, Sandy was, I call him Sandy, yeah, Sandy was sharing a lot about Captain Vikram Batra. I said, this is so fascinating. I said, man, whoever is going to do the film, it's going to be amazing. And this film, at that point, from outside, when you are looking at it, when you get to know the story, you said, this is the most fascinating story. And it's really nice. It's very challenging, in fact, to make a film like this. At that point, I never knew that I would be getting into, at that film. And quite often he used to travel to Chennai. And Shabir kept asking, who are you traveling to Chennai meet quite often now and then, like this and all this stuff, then you landed up meeting Shabir, generally just to meet up once, and then you met up with the Karan of Karan Johar and everything, and from there on it just took off. I remember still Karan saying, okay, now we have a director, let's start filming. We haven't even started the scripting at that point. That's so beautiful of him to actually say that. Now we have a director, now let's start filming. And yes, so that was a huge responsibility. From there it started with myself and Sandeep, traveling for months and sitting and meeting everybody associated with the family. And by then, Sid was already there in the film. By the time I had come back, Sid was already going to play Captain Vikram Batra, which was the most exciting part of it, because for the fact there could not be anybody else, other than to play a 24-year-old boy at that time, who became a legend. So it just took off from there after the research, the scripting and everything. And yeah, now we are waiting for everyone to see the film.
Yes, and so it was always meant to be yours, I think.
Yeah.
We can say that.
Yeah, I think say that we're very blessed enough, that we're part of the film.
When you're directing a film about a real life war hero who's also, this romantic person at heart, a charming personality in his personal life, then how do you strike a balance between the two and, find the core of the film?
All those things. But now when it comes to portraying a real life hero, real life story, a lot goes into that, because you have to be as honest as possible. So that one thing, after gathering all the information, which we really made sure that we need to connect us, we need to tell the story. It's a story of an emotion. It's a story of a soldier. It's an emotional story. No matter what, he sacrificed his life. That becomes the core, of what Captain Vikram Batra is known for. He's known for capturing two of the most strongest peaks, which actually led to ending the war in the next couple of days. So that becomes the core. So what went into becoming that one soldier, and what went into making that man to commit himself and do so much to for the nation, so that became the core focal point, and at that point, when Captain Vikram Batra's story was told, for the fact, there is one story which cannot be not told, that is his story between he and Dimple. Everybody knows about it. That's one of the most strongest and the most beautiful story. And yeah, for that matter, in every part of Vikram Batra's life you take is a feature film by itself, So keeping all these things in mind, you have to really focus on narrating that one aspect of it, of what Captain Vikram Batra is known for, So that's what we stuck to, It's a story of an emotion.
Sidharth, I wanted to ask you, biopics sure are very difficult to pull off. There's a lot that goes into it. And of course, you've been onto the film for the last 5 years. Tell us, how did you find comfort in essaying a larger than life character like Captain Vikram Batra, who's, brave, romantic, yaro ka yaar, a charming personality, take us through the sense of responsibility there is, in playing such a character.
So I said, yeah, what I was saying was it's not very comfortable playing a real life, true life hero. There's so much that is expected of the story, whether it's from the armed forces, whether it's from his family, whether it's from his loved ones. And for me, the experience has just been, it's been a long journey, but I think something that I'm really attached to, and I feel that needs to be told in a certain way for out of respect for all the people who gave their life to, at Kargil battle in '99, all the 500 plus soldiers who gave their lives for our democracy, the largest democracy in the world that exists today. And of course, to Captain Batra's family and his sacrifice. So I hope people get an essence of his life and eventually get inspired from his sacrifice, and his legacy and legacy of all the Indian Army soldiers live on.
Sidharth, when you play such a character that, who's a real life hero. There are so many stories about him. How how much do you take in from the character into your personal life? How much do you maybe imbibe the qualities that the person had?
Well, I wish I had his sense of confidence when it comes to facing danger situation or overcoming fear. I think fear is our biggest obstacle, whether in anyone's life you're scared of doing so many things and you don't do them. But Captain Vikram Batra never let that stop him. And it might sound cliche, but he actually proved it by laying his life down and overcoming fear and giving his life to beat the enemy and achieve his mission. The oath that he took to the Indian Army to protect his mother nature, his motherland, and that's something very aspirational about him that I wish that I had.
Everybody was so enthusiastic, and everybody is looking forward to the film. But a section of users, on social media, also compared Abhishek Bachchan's portrayal of Captain Vikram Batra in LOC Kargil. So, what are your thoughts when such comparisons are made?
As I said, I think our film is not out. For me to have this conversation with you will be something that you haven't seen. B, we have pretty much concentrated on his life story and dived into more aspects of his personal life, his thought process, and it's I honestly haven't seen LOC. I'm aware of him, Abhishek playing the role of Captain Vikram Batra, but whatever semblance that I've seen of their trailer, I don't see any similarities. I feel you can have 5 different takes on one story, and ours is a more, I would say, personal take, a more fresher take because it's made today. And as I said, I think in this film, it's not about who's made this before, who's made that before. It's about a gentleman who gave his life for the country. I think we need to show respect to him and not commercialize it to that extent where you're comparing apples to apples. You see a film, you see somebody's life story. If you can understand the struggles and efforts he went through for your safety, for your democracy, I feel that'll be a better achievement. That if they win, these are all media questions that don't really bother me right now. As I said, I'm waiting for the family to see it first, and depends what they think.
Thank you so much for answering that, Sidharth, and looking forward to watching Shershaah on Amazon Prime. And lovely speaking with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely
Thank you.
talking about that.
Thank you so much.